Welcome everyone to episode 10 of the draft. This week we will be featuring the Food City 500 at Bristol. All our draft picks, 8 different teams, best of the rest of the teams, and a wild card pick for all three of us. Last week was a monumental week. Phil finally gets on the board with the first dub of the season. The Blaney shirt was in full effect. The slamming some whiskey that helped. I think you were just in the zone. We knew it when you were talking about Haley. Just we saw the fire in your eyes. So I'm glad you got on the board. Big win, Tino. How you doing, Phil? We'll start with you though. We got to start with the man who won.
Yeah.
Tino, you got to just we got to just wait for a second. Let's give him some time to talk. Phil, how you feeling?
It feels fantastic. I got a little lucky with Larson and his situation because you guys both had him and I didn't. So that really helped. But yeah, man, it feels really good. I was just over a half unit up on the week, and it felt like I hit for like 20 units. So very
Yeah, but
happy.
your reasoning on Larson is like no one saw it happening like that quickly, but you called it. You
Uh,
said, "I'm going safe, boys," and it
That's
worked
right.
out.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice when things kind of play out the way you say it because you look smart. But I would never take that victory lap on Kyle Larson because he's the man. But
Yeah.
um, I'm happy, and the Blaney shirt worked out. Um, I want to save it, right? I had someone hit me and say like, "Why aren't you wearing that every week?" It's like, well, because you can't take a shortcut every time because then it's just the way. So
Yeah.
you need to save the magic. I don't want to overuse it, but um, I'm rocking my Penn State hockey jersey. My boys are in the the Frozen Four tomorrow night, so I'm hoping to give them a little bit of magic. I played for Penn State before they were an NCAA level team, so I am jacked
Nice.
up for that tomorrow night
Nice.
and hoping to get some more magic going. So this week, fired up, and hopefully we have a little bit of differences between our rosters going into Bristol.
Yeah, it might be a little chalky tonight, boys, but I know we always say that and we always find a way to be different.
Yeah,
So, Tino, how you feeling? How'd you do over the weekend?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling locked and loaded. I'm feeling ready to get another win. And I'm happy for Phil. It was great to see him get on the board. In terms of last weekend, not feeling too good about that one because we had William Byron and then we had Ryan Blaney. And those were two of my top outright picks to win the race. And they ultimately didn't. And we saw how they did not. And I think we'll discuss that a little more further there. But ultimately, it was tough to see that play out the way it did because I thought it was a pretty fun Darlington race overall for what was a William Byron masterclass. So to see it kind of end the way it did was disappointing for me and my bets. But hey, we're back at it this time, and I'm really excited for Bristol, baby.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. So so Phil wins. It's great. He's on the board. Now we can move on. I feel like that's a weight off all of our shoulders. So Phil, you won. Let's go.
Yeah, I can
Uh
stop rooting for him now. I can
yeah,
stop rooting for him
yeah. Don't
now.
let me get hot, baby. Don't let me get
yeah.
hot.
He said Blaney is a dog, so he chose the Philadelphia Animal Welfare Society, which is PAWS, PAWS. Great charity. We donated to that at Win the Race for Phil's victory. So thank you, Phil. That's awesome. I want to just quickly get back to what Tina was talking about because we have kind of an all-time low here on the Gluck poll. Was Darlington a good race? 45.9% of you said yes. The lowest Darlington race in the poll out of 16. The previous low, 71.6. So, I mean, this down at 45.9%. Just wondering, Tino, I'm going to kick it right back to you because you were talking a little bit about it. What do you think? I mean, did you think it was that bad? I think sometimes people are just a little more disappointed in like there's a couple things. I'll just say something real fast. I think
Yeah, yeah.
when the cloud cover came, people saw stage one and people were just ripping through the field, and the cream kind of rose to the top pretty quickly. That was cool to see. Then I think we got some like cloud cover or something changed, and in the long runs after that, very stagnant for a lot of laps before you started seeing anyone move that wasn't named Ryan Blaney. So that's what I just think. People might have thought it was a little boring, but Tino, what do you think?
I can agree with the essence of it potentially being boring to some consumers, some viewers out there. That's fine. To me, an appreciator of any NASCAR race. I'll say that. Like, it's hard for me to vote no at a lot of times when he puts those polls up because I just like racing in general. But
Yeah.
when we're talking about this race specifically as a whole, I was a fan of William Byron dominating the race. Like, I thought that was really cool. But then as the race went on and we saw him, after 243 laps of straight leading, lose the lead and not have the same car being able to pass guys in dirty air, that's when the switch kind of flipped in my mind. Like, hey, wait a second, maybe he wasn't that dominant and it was just a matter of clean air. Because if someone else had sat on the pole and just got out to a big lead, would they have been able to, pass guys the same way William Byron was in terms of, not being passed himself and other drivers trying to contend for the lead, in which they weren't really able to do? That's what popped into my head. But then, okay, we kind of got saved by some cool strategy at there. And Tyler Reddick, he kind of, jumped in terms of the pit cycle there. We saw Christopher Bell as well, who was having not a good day at all. And then he was inside the top 5 out of nowhere. I remember texting Phil. I was like, dude, what is going on with these guys? Like, how are they, up where they were? And then Ryan Blaney, who we all talked about having the best long run car of the day, and heading into that race, that's what we were expecting him to be. And he was that guy. He was that dog. Once again, he was in position to win this race. And I was like, okay, this is going to be a great Darlington race. We had someone who showcased a masterclass. Yeah, maybe was in part of clean air, but then you get some pit cycles in there as well and strategies, and then a nice long run to snap the winless streak for Ryan Blaney of him being unlucky and everything like that. And then we get the Kyle Larson incident where I don't know if you guys saw it in the chat there, but I put out this tweet that said this. It was showcasing the fact that this Darlington race was exactly like the Richmond Spring Race in 2024. How we had Martin Truex Jr. about ready to snap an unlucky streak. The 5 and 23 make contact. 11 has the best pit crew. Overtime happens. Denny Hamlin wins. Well, the same exact thing happened this time, except for Ryan Blaney was in Martin Truex Jr.'s position. With all that being said, it's tough to say it was a good race at the end because of how it ended. Like, having just Denny Hamlin steal that in the last overtime restart that really shouldn't have ever happened. If Ryan Blaney wins that race, I'm saying it's a good race. I can say that with confidence. But that's where I have trouble with the whole overtime Kyle Larson spin, because I feel like William Byron should have won it. Ryan Blaney should have won it. Maybe even Tyler Reddick. Maybe even Christopher Bell, because he was leading some laps and had some good strategy. But for Denny Hamlin to kind of swoop in like that, I thought was why most people probably voted no.
Yeah, I think the Denny factor definitely drives no's. And he's won 2 in a row now and could very well win 3 in a row, this week. That's a great point you made, though, about William Byron. Great out front, but as soon as he gets back in traffic a little bit, he's just kind of dead. It's not only him. It's just the car. If you have a fast car and you're out front, that clean air is just a hell of a drug. Phil, what do you think of the race?
So, Tino mentioned he texted me during the race, and like when Byron was out front, to me, it was like, wake me up when there's like pit stops, wake me up when there's a green flag cycle. I flipped back and forth between that and other things for the first half of the race because it didn't look like anything was there. I was anxious to see if Byron was actually going to have, on the teardown, they were calling it like a perfect race. I was interested in that, but I wasn't like glued to it because it was, pretty boring, I guess, in quotes.
Keselowski caution really changed things because Byron was on a different strategy than everyone else before that came out. So that would have been very interesting. Like,
Yes,
people thought the end of the race was exciting because Blaney had a different long run car than everyone else. Everyone's on different strategy. Reddick got out front. Blaney runs him down. That's cool. We could have seen that in stage 2 with all this different strategy going on. So we could have seen some really good racing there eventually, but it was ruined because of that caution.
100%. And I think Tino hit on kind of my thought about the Byron situation. It's like, it's pretty cool in my mind to see a dominant car, but then once you realize, wait a second, this is just a track position battle. Like that's all this is. He's not really that good. Like when Blaney passed him easily towards the end of that race, it was like, holy shit, like what a fraud. Like I was tricked. And that made me a little annoyed. But I did like the Blaney battle. So it was kind of tough because I think most of the race, it was like, when are we going to get something interesting? Now I'll spin the ending because I agree with everything you guys have said. I'll spin the ending to try to give you a little bit of ammo and maybe make it more of a positive. But I have so many friends that hate on NASCAR. And when you try to say like it's a team sport, they don't see it. This race is what you can point to now for the near future to say it's not a team sport. Okay, look at this because he does not win that race without his team, hands down, bar none. And he's got the best one, it seems like. So this very much is a team sport. And we can really hold this up and say, yeah, here's your example. It means something to have a good pit crew. And somebody threw out there, what are we going to do with this 12 team? Are they going to make any replacements or, I forget what the question was. There it is from Robert. I do not understand how there hasn't been heads rolling. I mean, I know Big Ross tried to say they don't really have a ton of options, but this is Penske we're talking about. Like there are options. There has to be people, out there to shake this up to be better. They have to be better if they're going to go out and make a championship run because that's embarrassing to do that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, you'd have to think he'd kill to have Hamlin's pit crew or any like Christopher Bell's pit crew. I mean, these guys are just rock solid. Any Hendricks pit crew. So it's just like they're just all so much faster than his. Very unfortunate because Blaney, arguably the fastest car in this. They set these cars up differently, obviously, for different tracks, but it's the intermediate package. He's showing the best speed time and time again in this. Just his average finish in those 3 races is like 25 or something stupid. So, obviously he had the 2 unfortunate events and then couldn't win this week when he should have. So, all right, we beat down enough. Everyone, you can go on X and read a million different comments about everything we talked about. One thing I will say, Larson definitely checked the brakes in front of Bubba. They have data on that. So Bubba did not wreck him out on purpose. That we can put that to bed. So I think we should head right into Bristol because we'll do the race preview first, but I just mentioned a guy who I think is going to be pretty chalky for us for this first pick. But let's head right into the race preview. Phil, you can go ahead and take it away. Bristol Motor Speedway. Let's do it.
Bristol Motor Speedway back, second year in a row, back in the spring. Food City 500 is no longer on dirt, which feels good. This is the last great Coliseum. If you're new to the sport, just over a half-mile high bank, short track. They're going to be hopefully beating and banging there. The stages this week are nice and crisp and clean. We got 125 stage 1, 125 stage 2, and a 250 lap stage 3. The good race poll last year, just for the record, was an 87%. I think that had to do with the tire compound and some perfect weather situation there. But in the fall, it was 27. So we don't know what we're getting as far as a good race is concerned at this racetrack recently. The winner star on the poll happened 27 times in its history, 125 races, by the way, at this track. Last time it happened was Brad in 2020. Starting inside the top 5 is huge. 60% of the time, the winner started there, including the last 2 races. And starting inside the top 10, just about 80% of the time. If the winning race car has not started outside the top 20 since Kevin Harvick in 2016. As far as manufacturer trends, a bit of a mix. No real dominance from anybody. Toyota's taken 2 of the 4 next gen. So we've got the same tire compound as last fall, Bristol. So that 27% race, we got the same tire compound there, and it's the same left side tires as Dover. So if you're looking for a little bit more of a data set, I know for my podcast I did look at that, just the 2024 race with the two Bristol races. Something else to you there, but yeah. So I think that's all I have for us here as the preview.
Yeah, we were at that fall race. It was an absolute beatdown by Kyle Larson. So, and same thing. I think he started on the front row. He started second that race, led almost every lap, won the race. It's good for our betting purposes. I mean, I think it's right back to something that's more predictable. in the Cup Series, I was up about 3 units last week. Very fortunate to be, because Darlington, I think, is one of the hardest ones. We talked about it all week, but now, in coming off Martinsville, which is super predictable. Now I think we're getting right back to predictable again. I don't think we're going to see what we saw in the spring race, where I think, they obviously had something was messed up with that tire compound that they brought in the spring race. I mean, something was up there.
A
And I
beautiful
think,
accident.
yeah, people had
It was
said, like
nice.
Denny said too on his podcast, like they will not do that again. So like, I don't know. I think, and we're gonna have like cold weather, cloud cover. You know, we could see what we saw in the fall. I don't know. With that being said, I do think it can still be a fun race, because we have a lot of cars that are decent here that are starting, they're qualifying like mid, or they're going off real early. And so if they don't qualify well, it might be fun to watch these guys fight their way up through the pack. Kyle Larson being one of them. He's not qualifying way in the back, but he's still like, well, I think he is actually. I'll pull it up, but he he's going to have to fight his way through a lot of cars, and that's going to be a lot of fun, because he has not finished outside the top 5 here as a member of Hendricks. So that will be a lot of fun. He's going off. Oh yeah, he's going off 9th. So maybe he can lay down a fast lap, but it'll be fun to watch him come through the field if he qualifies mid pack or something like that. All right, so that was good. Thank you, Phil. Tito, I'm going to let you lead this one off. We're going to jump right into the draft. For people who are new, we do one draft pick for all 8 teams you see on the left. We do one draft pick for best of the rest. It's any driver from a team that's not featured in these 8 teams here. And then a wild card can be one pick from any team that you haven't chosen already. The scoring will be official NASCAR points, and the winner will get to choose a charity that Win the Race will donate to. We're going to kick it off 23-11 style. Tino, who you got here?
All right, so this is probably going to be the worst team in terms of results and traction when it comes to Bristol this weekend. Bubba Wallace, the last 3 races, he does have a 3rd place finish, but 29th, 14th amongst them. Tyler Reddick got into trouble early last year, 30th, 15th, and 25th. And it makes sense, right? When we look at their strong suit as drivers, it is not Bristol Motor Speedway. It is not short tracks. To me, I'm going to have to go Bubba Wallace. I just feel like that one top 10, top 5, top 3 finish he did have was good enough to help me pick him in this one. He's been coming out with faster cars over Reddick as well. I don't think Reddick has necessarily figured out short track racing just yet, although it is something I'm sure he will start to come around with. But for both of those drivers, and hey, I even considered Riley Herbst in this one, but just couldn't get there, and I'm not sure when I will be able to for him. But because there's not really much good things for me to say about either of those 2 drivers in this one, I'm gonna shout out the guys in the comments: Brian, Big Ross, Kyle. Appreciate everyone joining us. Team 54 hopped in. He said, halftime here in Dallas, just saying hello, have a good show. Ty Gibbs W in the cards. Could be. Hey, the 54 had a strong run in this race last year, so I'm excited to see that. Miami Mike saying, yes, sir. So appreciate everyone tuning in, and keep commenting. Any questions, comments, concerns. Oh, wait a second. Hot Pass is here.
Nice. Good.
So that's what we needed. But yeah, Bubba Wallace for me in this one.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm so Team 54, we're high on Ty Gibbs this week if you're still there. I'm going to go Bubba Wallace here as well. And it's kind of like what you said. Tyler Reddick, he doesn't have a finish better than 15th here in the Gen 7 races. And I was trying to like dig into it and see, is some of that kind of like fake news, looking at true performance and things like that. And it's not really. I'm not really worried about Reddick here. Where Bubba had his strongest performance ever here the last race. And we just said, same tire compound as that, maybe some similar-ish track conditions. We'll see. But again, I don't really expect to see what we saw in the spring race. So I kind of throw that one out. And like you said, Bubba has been bringing the heat every week. He's been fast. He was fast last week. I think in stage 2, he hit the wall. And that's kind of when he hit a wall. And so I'm going to have to go with Bubba here. Reddick also, he gets to qualify in maybe a better position going off late, but he's never qualified better than 12th here. So I'm also not really concerned with him like going out there and grabbing some awesome track position at a track he's not really great at. So yeah, just give me Bubba here. Phil, who do you got?
Same. I got my victory. I don't need to be trying to be too different now. I got to put together a string of wins, and this is not the place to do it. I think Bubba will absolutely be the one that comes away ahead of his teammates, and I think you should be looking to see how you can fade Tyler Reddick in matchups. I have one that I'll bring up later in the episode that makes a lot of sense to me. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talk about him not being good at Martinsville, and he's talked a lot about how he's, tried to get better at Martinsville. But what about Bristol? Like he has not had speed, not had starting positions, not had finishes, like the whole kit and caboodle. He has not done anything. So
It's
it's
not
Bubba.
similar because it's flat, but it's the same. But like
Same
thinking
concept.
short, yeah, and you're thinking like short track. Like he's not. We don't ever think of him at Phoenix either. Like he's not anything great there. He had one good run there.
Yeah, I just know like he goes on and does a spot with Larry Mack each week, and like he has talked about Martinsville with those guys a lot, and not really talked about Bristol at all. But he's just as bad here. So
Yeah.
to me, my point is, it seems like he's more concerned at getting better there because it's this, second to last race of the year. This is
Yep.
just like he's comfortable being mid pack, and I don't want it. I'll take a guy who's Bubba's frisky, in this race in general. Like he's been getting better here. So Bubba.
Yeah, I like Bubba on short tracks. I took a matchup Bubba over Chastain. Um, might be a little thin, but our Sims liked it, and I saw it early in the week, so I took it. All right, Phil, we're gonna stay with you, and we're gonna head right into front row motorsports. Lead us off.
Yeah. So this was probably the trickiest one for me because I think we could go a number of different ways. I don't think there's like a correct answer. You know how people say like there's no wrong answer? I don't think there's a correct answer with this one. My reasoning last week of taking Gilliland was because he's been super consistent and you kind of know what you're going to get with him. This week, I am going to go with Gregson. He is someone that I think we can, I don't know, see him having some success. I mean, he finished 12th here in the fall. Spring race last year, he was dog shit, but he, has flashes. He's got 2 victories in his Xfinity Series career. That's not been translating for a lot of these drivers, but it is what it is. Like he knows where victory lane is. I always say that that's a positive when you're going to a racetrack. Gilliland doesn't have the consistency here that I'm looking for to take him. He's usually my super steady Eddie. But he's going the wrong way. He, 18, 16, 26, 32, like 2024 was not good for him here. So, and Zane Smith, I don't know what I'm getting with Zane Smith. He is like last week. Great job by that team. I was not on him. I was fading him against Gilliland and he held together. So like what's going on with them? I need to see more. So I'll go with Gregson as the higher ceiling here.
So it's funny you say that because I like, as you know, because you see it, I pick Gregson almost every week, and almost every week he kills me. So I'm going to Zane Smith this week. So we'll go with Zane. I really like the speed. We were on that pre-race too after practice and qualifying. Looked really good. And I know this isn't, the same thing. But it's a bank track and this same-ish package. I don't know, man. I think Zane showed a lot last week. And when we were there last year in the fall, he was really strong. He started 33rd, ended up finishing that race 16th. I think that's just kind of stuck in my head is watching his good run live. That and Gregson burning me. So, like you said, there's not any hardcore analysis or statistical data here to back up these picks for front row, but Gregson's been killing me. Um, and he was really the only other one I was considering. So just give me Zane Smith here, and I hope he keeps that speed. He brings that speed he brought last week, and I think he can make some noise. He's really good here in the truck series. You're the truck guy,
Dude, I know.
so
I'm a Zane Smith guy, dude. Like
yeah,
I
I
got
know.
swag. But he's too scary for me. Like he ran well last week.
Yeah,
I think he could run 34th this week. Like he's so confusing right now in his career.
yeah.
So I need more of a data
It's
set.
it's tough. All three of those guys on this team are tough. Tino, who are you going with?
So I'm going with Zane Smith. I was a little jealous you got to say him first, and that 16th place finish. That was what really caught my eye, because keep in mind, that's a 16th place finish in the 71 car. I believe this 38 is completely better than where he was at last year. Now, he also has a 16th place finish earlier this season at Martinsville. So to me, to see that be Todd Gilliland's best finish overall at Bristol, I'm willing to take Zane Smith to potentially get a 16th place finish again, or just beat out the other two drivers in Todd Gilliland, or in this case, it would have to be Noah Gragson on the board there for you, Phil. It's weird though, like you guys have mentioned with front row, I feel like I try to pick each one of them every week, sort of alternate, and anyone that I'm choosing normally burns me. Like Zane Smith did get us luckily with that. I think it was the Phoenix top 10 at plus 750 was really nice earlier this year, so maybe he can provide that again. And Todd Gilliland's been okay at times as well, but I just feel like it's one out of the three every week, as you guys have alluded to. I will say hot pass in the comments is saying Zane's got that dog in him, bruh. Arf, arf. So do I. So I'm going with the doggy dog here. And he's also saying, Ryan, red looks good on you. Wow. But for Phil, gray is not doing him any favors.
I don't know what that means. It's kind of mean.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, hot pass coming in hot in the comments as usual.
Yeah, hot pass is bringing that heat tonight.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I didn't get my fashion, comment there from him. I need my review, hot pass. Put it down in the chat. He's also saying, if we're talking trucks, give me Raja plays. A little early sneak peek of what's on his spot. Tune in there. Also tune in to Phil's pod with the trucks if we're talking trucks. So,
yeah, I was so before we logged in here, I almost hit this Raja head to head. I didn't yet though, but now I'm curious to see what he's talking about. So hot pass, I'll be texting you in about an hour. Let's go to Hendrick. Tino, let's just stick with you here. Again, this might be a little chalky, but I stole Zane from you this last time. So you lead us off with Hendricks and give us what you got here.
Well, one thing that's important to know when we're looking at Hendrick Motorsports in this race is the drivers that finished back-to-back, twice throughout both Bristol races in the spring and in the fall. And it was actually three of them. Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, and Chase Elliott all finished inside the top 10 in both Bristol races. I thought that was important to note. To me, I think a lot of people would probably expect me to go with Kyle Larson to lead it off right now, but I'm going to go with Chase Elliott, because now why I was thinking Larson was because he's probably going to be pissed at himself for wrecking at Darlington not once but twice, come out strong, and he dominated this race later on, in the fall. But to me, Chase Elliott was really strong in Martinsville. I think he could have won that race if it wasn't for Denny Hamlin just being better than him on the long run. And I could really see him being strong here as he was in this race last year. When we're looking at short track wins in the next gen era, he doesn't have any. So that would be the drawback there. Kyle Larson has 3, Blaney's got 3, Hamlin's got 5, and Byron's got 2. So, but Byron, to me, that he kind of scared me. He got in trouble here earlier on in the spring race last year. That took, I'm not even counting that race there. And then not a top 10 in the second one, but, or at least not, back-to-back top 10s like those 3 other drivers. Maybe I'll go Kyle Larson at some point in this draft, but I wanted to put Chase Elliott first here, just for fun, I guess.
I like it. It's Elliott's one of those guys where, like, when he goes to a track where he's been awesome, he tends to just show up every time. And it's like that at Martinsville. And he's been awesome here at Bristol. Just a super solid career at this racetrack. So, and we know what his team can do here. Phil, what do you have here for HMS?
So I fully am on board with the Chase Elliott love that Tino's putting out there, that the chat's putting out there. I would want to mention my favorite. The first bet that I played this week was Chase Elliott head-to-head versus William Byron -115 on DraftKings. I don't know if that's still out there, but Byron's just okay here. Chase Elliott is very good here, as everyone's saying, and Tino made a great point for that. But
you know where else Elliott is good too? And we mentioned that left side tire,
Dover.
Super high bank track, Dover.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Last year, his he was average finishes 5.0 on those 2 Bristols and a Dover. So that's third. But do you know who's better? Kyle Larson. And I love Elliott. I'm going to be on Elliott multiple head-to-heads this week. I think but the thing about Elliott is he's running like kind of 10th ish. And if you look at his speed rating at Bristol, it tells the same story. Like he's running and he gets a little bit more out of the car than he probably should, but like his speed rating is like 15th, 16th, but he gets a top 10. And that's kind of the season for him right now. So this track matches up. It's a good synopsis of like what you're seeing from his season. Kyle Larson, I can't not take him. And I know you said you might take him later in the wild card, Tino. I mean, I think that would behoove you. The only driver to have 4 for 4 top fives, minus 130 for a top five for Kyle Larson. To me, that seems very, very nice. His speed rating is unbelievable. His average finish from the two Bristols and a Dover last year is 2.7. That's like half of what Elliott's was. So it's just like I'm preaching to the choir here. You guys all know Larson's the dude, but the stats are staggering. Like when you really get into it. So I cannot pass up Kyle Larson here.
Yeah, I'm with you. Kyle Larson was my pick here. And it's even if you go beyond just the 4 Gen 7 races, his 5 races with Hendricks, all top fives. In those 5 races, and 2 wins, by the way, and with Hendrick in those 5 races, he's never finished a stage outside the top 9.
That's crazy.
Not one stage.
Wow, that's a
So, I
sick
mean,
stat.
he's just there. And so then I was like, well, he's kind of back in the pack. He's going to go off real early in qualifying. What if he's a little buried? Oh, well, not long ago he started 36th here and finished second. So it's like, get this guy. Dude's running triple duty this weekend too.
Yep.
Trucks, Xfinity, Cup. I
Mhm.
mean, he'll be ready to go. So not like we ever thought he wouldn't be, but I mean, I love Larson this weekend.
One more thing that I mentioned, you guys may remember a few episodes ago. It was after the Coda race. I had put together, I threw the notes out, but I put together a bunch of notes about in the next gen car, how Kyle Larson bounces back from a 30+ finish.
Yeah,
And
remember
the
that?
numbers are insane. He's got like 4 or 5 wins. His top 5 numbers ridiculous. Well, what did he do after Coda? I think it was Phoenix. He finished 3rd. So like
Yeah.
he is very good, probably better than everybody about bouncing back, especially from a dead last finish or whatever the hell he was last week. I'm expecting big things from him, and the track time with Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup, I think is really going to play into it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, talking about Kyle Larson, we might as well just go right into Joe Gibbs Racing here because there's like 2 top dogs here, and I'll just lead this off. But to me, it's Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson, and then a gap to who we have in third. But NASCAR, we already talked about it, using the same tire that they debuted here last year. Even if we want to throw that race out, whatever, it didn't really matter for Denny because Denny led 142 laps, won the race. He's won 2 of the races here in the Gen 7 era. Last fall, he finished 4th. The left side, they ran at Dover last year. Well, you know who dominated and won that race? Denny. So it's like the same type thing we said, for Elliott. Like, he's just good here. He's good on this tire. There's not anything you can say that would really take you away from playing all things Denny Hamlin this week. He's going for his 3rd win in a row. He's going off what, last? Is he the last person to go off qualifying? Yes. So I mean,
Probably going to win the poll.
he always qualifies well here, or he has recently. So I would just expect him to be up front all day long, and maybe he gets his 3rd win in a row, maybe not, but he'll be very strong. So, Tino, let's jump to you. Who do you got here for Joe Gibbs?
Well, I love this comment from Kyle because it says Kyle Larson gets the triple header sweep, or does Denny get 3 straight? Before
That's awesome.
I even go, Ryan, what do you think? Do you like? Can you? I feel like that's a battle between the big dogs in that aspect. Who are you picking?
Man, it's so tough. Like as proven last week with Ryan Blaney having the best car by a million miles and not winning the race, it is so freaking hard to win in the Cup Series, especially 3 times in a row. But his teammate did it. And then Larson's got to go out there with some of these crazy guys in the Truck Series and Xfinity Series. Xfinity at the end of those races are a little nutty. And we've seen it with Larson this year too. Have the best car, doesn't come away with the victory in Xfinity when Allgaier took that one. So, and that was another stupid, late race caution. So I don't know. This is so tough. Does Denny have a better shot to win this race than Larson has a better shot to triple the wins? I think so. I think you got to go.
Yeah, I
Just
would
one
say
race.
yes. I would agree with that. Yeah, and I'm going with Denny Hamlin as well. You can throw him on the board for me there. I think he does. I'm not sure if he does win 3 in a row, but I think he's going to have to beat Kyle Larson in order to do so. And he's 6-0 against Kyle Larson in his career when they finished 1-2. So there you go from that aspect. And also, Denny Hamlin's best friend is Kyle Larson right now because he wouldn't have won the race last weekend if it wasn't for Larson spinning out. So give me the Denny Hamlin. I considered Christopher Bell. Thought about Chase Briscoe. Well, hey, got Team 54. If you're still in, even if you're not, I mean, Ty Gibbs ran really well here last year, but I'm not going to pick him over Denny Hamlin or Christopher Bell. I just think maybe a top 10 could be in store for that 54, and we could maybe see, some good value with that coming as well. But it's got to be Denny Hamlin. I think I don't want to bet him outright either at plus 490. Him and Larson right now I'm seeing at FanDuel, but I don't want to, but if he goes out and wins the poll, which he's looking like he has the best opportunity since he's rolling off last, that number's just going to go down more. And then he's going to be plus 350. And I'm not going to want to bet that even more. So I probably will end up betting Denny Hamlin's outright as well. And Kyle Larson, I'll probably wait on to see. Hopefully, he starts back in the pack.
Yeah, it's good you mentioned Gibbs too, and I probably should have because I have taken him in a matchup over Kyle Busch. That one was at DraftKings. It was minus 120. I'd probably play it to minus 130. Nothing more. I don't know where it's at right now, but did take that matchup early in the week. So Gibbs is someone that we are, pretty high on to start the week. And I know that's scary as hell right now, but he was decent last week. After him and Chris Bell both, they've really lucked out from that caution. They were both going to go a lap down. I think Gibbs already did. But once they had track position, maybe they made some adjustments. They weren't trash. They had some speed. So, Phil, or who do you got here for Joe Gibbs?
Yeah. Just paint this picture here for you. We got somebody, maybe it's Larson, up front, leading the race, and we've got Eric Jones spinning out through the track. Caution comes out late in that race. We've got Denny Hamlin with the number 1 pit stall, with the number 1 pit crew. I mean, you got to go Denny Hamlin here. He's just, even if he's not the number 1, sitting on the pole, he's going to be very high up. He does qualify well here. You guys laid out all the numbers. Hamlin, it's a 2-man show. And I would, the Larson thing, it's proven like at Homestead how hard it is to do that. And so many things could go wrong. I'm going to go with with Denny Hamlin just winning at a racetrack that he did a year ago to complete the triple, 3 in a row rather. And yeah, I don't know why I said Eric Jones. That was mean.
Yeah, that was a crazy stray. I thought that was the first
super
thing
super mean. Didn't intend to. I was actually legitimately going to say John Hunter Nemechek, and I was like, well, he's actually in the playoff hunt. Teammate. Okay. So yeah, it's Denny Hamlin. I love the Gibbs love. The head-to-head got nuked down to minus 145, so that's a shame. But I had him for a top 10. He was plus 120 on Bet365. Yeah, Gibbs. And someone asked for like a one and done, if you're looking for maybe someone that could snake into a top 10. I think Gibbs would be frisky here for a one and done play. So I also took on my pod, I could not zero in on outrights. I think it's very tough with the short, dominant drivers to dig in outrights because it's tough to throw like, oh, let me throw a long shot on somebody. So I went Toyota as a manufacturer play because of the prowess of Hamlin. I'm going to talk about Bell later, most likely. Those guys, plus what Gibbs is going to do for us here, theoretically, Bubba being in the mix, finishing third, I think Toyota is a good way to kind of start your card and play around that.
Yeah, and like we talked about Larson, but he is going off earlier, where like Bell and Hamlin are going off late, and then we talked about the Gibbs love. We talked about Bubba, everything. I like that play. Phil, let's stick with you. Let's jump right into. Let's see if you're going to pick your guy here back to back weeks. Penske. Who do you got here at Bristol?
Yeah, it's Blaney. Cindric, let's start at the bottom. Cindric is the worst. Wait, what am I looking at?
You can
Yeah,
just stop. You can just stop there.
speed
he's just
rating, the worst in all of NASCAR speed rating at Bristol. So he's out.
Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah, it is surprising. You know what else is surprising? Joey
He's been
Logano.
he's been faster this year. Got to give him a little credit. They showed up in this intermediate package at those races, and Cindric had some real speed.
No, you're right. You're right. But compared
I
to his
wouldn't pick him.
teammates, yeah, you can't take a risk at a track like this. Maybe in a couple weeks after Easter. But you know, looking at it, then you're like, all right, well, who's it going to be between the two big dogs? And it's not even really. I'm anxious to hear what you guys have to say, but like in my mind, it's not even really a close call because Logano, he's jumping off the page to me as someone, okay, who can I match up in a head-to-head to fade this dude? Because his speed rating has been horrible, and his average finish numbers have been really bad as well. 33rd in all of NASCAR, average finish of 27.7 in the 4 races here. Just not really any redeeming qualities here. It's not like he's been fast and he just got wrecked out a couple times and his average finish is weighted. No, he has not been good here. So Blaney, by default, who is mid-pack here, is who I'm going with because and he finished 6th in the fall race last year. He's actually been on the right trajectory, going from 30th to 22nd to 16th to 6th. So compared to his teammates, I got to go with Blaney here. I did take Bell over Blaney in a head-to-head matchup on ESPN at -135, but so to just kind of bring the Bell conversation back in, but between the teammates, it's got to be Blaney, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you there. I had Blaney all day in that one, and again, it's the trajectory is really what I had noticed. A 30th, 22nd, 16, 6. I mean, he's coming, and then so he's just moving on up, and then comes here with what's been the best speed in this package of anyone. He's won the pole here before. It's nothing that he can't do, and gets to go off late in qualifying. So who knows? I mean, maybe he can finally put it together here. It's been a little weird, but that's kind of what he does. It's like last week, should have won, can't. Weeks before that, fastest car, engine blows up, or something dumb happens, loses 12 spots in the pits. There's always something. But as far as the game we're playing right now, I think you have to go Ryan Blaney right here. And man, our numbers won't show it. Like our sims won't show it. But like I am so tempted to just bet him to win because of that trajectory of him obviously having the fastest car in this package. And I will say this about JGR. We said all the good stuff, but like they have not been very fast. And that caution saved them last week, saved them and gave them the track position. They were dog crap until that. Hamlin was the only one that was running around like 10th place. And so I don't know, man. Like, could we be surprised? Could we just get here this weekend and just Blaney's the absolute fastest rocket again? And he's plus 750 right now. We show it fair around like 13-1, but like I almost don't care. I have lucked out in not betting him yet, so I haven't lost that money. I did place like half a unit live bet this past weekend, but that's it. I kind of want to take this now and just keep taking it until he wins. I feel like we're past the BS, and like one of these times it's going to come through and happen for him. So I don't know.
Can I just quickly weigh in on that topic? Like last week, I think we're all kind of like shocked because he hadn't been getting great finishes at Darlington, and he went out and he had a race winning car. But if you remember, we talked like he had been fast at Darlington. That was not a shock. It's can he keep it together for the whole race? This is a little bit different because they haven't been rocket ship fast at this racetrack like a week ago. The only thing to add to that point is like all year they're consistently fast in 2025. That's what you're working off of. But last week was pretty predictable that they were going to be fast. It's could he finish the job?
Where was it? Was it Homestead when he was fastest too and blew up?
Yeah.
And we did not expect him, to be great there.
Yeah, engine blowed up.
So, yeah. So I mean, I think that's so. we're kind of saying the same. I mean, he's fast everywhere, whether it's
He's been
predictable and
fast.
he's good or not. I mean, he's just showing up with the fastest car. It's weird.
Yeah,
And
it is weird.
so here, like, if you do get the track position here, one guy that's been able to navigate through traffic better than anyone with these fast cars is Blaney. I mean, he's been unbelievable passing this season. So I don't know, man. I like might just be talking myself into it. It might be a bad bet. We obviously don't show value on it, but like that's just something that I'm really just struggling with right now. Like I don't want to miss it. I don't want to not bet what's been the fastest car to win when I've lucked out so far not betting it and having him get trashed at the end. So, all right, Tino, what do you got here?
You can throw on Ryan Blaney for me, and I'm the exact opposite in terms of how we've bet on Ryan Blaney this season. But I'm staying with him because my philosophy is, well, I've bet on him so many times, and he's been so close, and it's seeming like he's due for a victory because, as Brian's saying here, he's just sitting in a jet right now. The car is fastest no matter if we go to Homestead, if we go to where we were at last week, Darlington, okay, comparable tracks, but it doesn't matter, in my opinion, because he's also fast at Martinsville, and he's also fast at, the short tracks when we go there. So to me, yeah, I just feel like Ryan Blaney is due for one. I'm glad you mentioned the outrights too, because I wrote down, I don't know if you guys can see it, these 4 drivers, and I have 2 at the bottom I'll be talking about, but it's the 12, 5, 9, and 11 for potential outrights that I would bet on. The fact that Ryan Blaney's in there, and then we start talking about it. I'm looking at his stats as well. Like, man, I don't know. Like, I start talking myself out of it. That's where it gets you. That's when he wins the race. So to me,
Yeah.
I have to stand 10 toes down on Ryan Blaney this weekend to sort of play him again. Big Ross saying it too. Blaney has shown a lot of growth as his driver, filled in a lot of the holes, getting results at tracks people used to fade him at. He's gotten much better at setting up his passes too. Biggest thing I'm noticing here, if this Bristol is unlike the spring race from last year and more like normal Bristol when it's a long green flag run, Blaney's been the best in any case scenario on those type of, long green flag runs throughout a race and just passing drivers. I haven't seen anyone else pass people as much of, and I don't think he's gotten passed for the lead at all this year. A caution's come out or his car's blown up, and that's it. So if Blaney can get to the front, pass for the lead, I don't see anyone passing him when we get to there. So,
Yeah.
no, I like Brian Blaney a lot here.
It's that or the pit crew.
Yeah,
So,
the pit crew.
losing spots in the pits.
Mm-hmm,
All right. Well,
mm-hmm.
Tino, you're on fire right there. Let's just lead right into RFK here. And I want to know who you're taking for this Ford team.
Well, the other driver I mentioned in terms of outright winners, I didn't showcase in that sticky note right there. Ryan Preece. Give me some Ryan Preece in this one. I like Chris Buescher a little bit. Brad Keselowski had a strong run up until late last weekend at Darlington, but this is a Ryan Preece type of racetrack. I mean, we're going to a short track, and that 60 car has been running strong. Should have had another top 10 finish, too, at Darlington. He was at least having the type of speed to potentially get 5 in a row for him. I love where this track is setting up for the Preece and for Preece and the 60 car in this one. His past few finishes there, and keep in mind, not in an RFK machine. It puts him 8th in the last 4 in average finish. He sits at an 11th, had a 12th place, 14th, 7th, didn't even run in 2022 because he wasn't in a ride there. No, it's got Brian saying Chris Buescher. Nah, I have to stick with Ryan Preece. He's been delivering for me, at least in the top 10 market. That's where I'm going to look for him again in this one. And to bet him outright to win right now, 44-1. I mean, I think that's going to be, and look at that the great pink scheme for the boost. Yeah, he's going to come out with a boost. I love Ryan Preece at this track. When we go to short tracks, it had I don't know. I just feel like I know Buescher has been strong here, better than Preece stat wise, but I think this is his time. If he's going to get a win, it's going to have to come at this racetrack or something like that, at least. New Hampshire, Dover, Bristol.
I love Preece here too. I mean, super fast last week too. Very unfortunate. He got crushed by that caution as well and just kind of never recovered. Here, I'm going to go with Chris Buescher. I'm very high on Buescher this week. I think Greg Mathern is at Win the Race as well. And all our numbers are kind of backing it up. He won here back in the inaugural Gen 7 season, but he's been strong here ever since. Finishes a 4th, 7th, and 14th. And he's never qualified better than 17th in those races. So that's one thing I like. Like with him going off late, I think he might be able to start this race with a little better track position. And that might be all he needs because, as we've seen, top 10 in 4 tire pit stops Win the Race. Super fast team. he's great on these long runs. He's not falling off and just losing spots. He's gaining some spots like mid run. If he can just get a little better long run, I think he can really contend to win some races here soon. And we've taken him top 4, 7-1, top 10 plus 120. And I also took him. I'm not picking on Ross Chastain this week, but I did take him to beat Ross as well. So it's more so I'm just very high on Buescher. So give me Chris Buescher here. Phil, who you got for RFK?
So I sneakily have a lot of like bets about the RFK crew. I'm going with Chris Buescher. He is my pick. I think for all those reasons, I mean, 3 top 10s in 4 races, the victory a couple years back, lot to like about him. I like him. He was plus 140 on bet 365 for a top 10. I love that bet. I think that's decent value for him. And someone, I think Brian said, is mispriced driver this week. Agreed with that. I like on bet 365. I have a half unit on the whole camp, plus 850. You're getting all of them. I didn't see a 44-1 on Priest. You mentioned that, Tino. If I saw that, I would take that by itself, obviously. But I like having all of them because it's kind of tough to predict. I love everything you're saying about Priest. The bet that I was most excited to come in here and talk about tonight was Ryan Priest plus 120 on bet 365 over Tyler Reddick. I got that. I gave that out, but now it's been nuked down to it flipped. Now it's minus 120 for Priest. So yeah, I was disappointed. I wanted that to be like a nice, put that out there. But,
I would have bet that right now.
Sneaky. I know. You probably would have. But still, I mean, minus 125. I don't know what's fair, what's not, but I think he's going to beat Reddick. So my point is these drivers, and then we're not even talking about Brad, who let me down last week. We said,
he was so fast too. He was so fast.
Yeah, he was top 10.
Yeah, temperature easy. Check. I think he's got it. The result though wasn't there. This is the temperature check part 2. And heading into the break, this is a big situation for them. It would not surprise, I don't think, any of us if he went out and won the race. So that's why I like grouping them all together with the RFK team pick. But yeah, Buescher for this draft is my play this week. It's tough. They're all frisky. They're all, if you're looking to get some sports book action in, look at this team.
My main thing was and I know people can move up through the field here, but my main thing was just liking where Buescher was going off in qualifying, hoping he can get a nice spot there going off late. But Priest, I mean, he can pass here. I mean, this is where you want to target Priest tracks like this. And like you said with Brad, it's unfortunate Brad's going to start the race probably buried again. But I mean, it didn't affect him last week. He was just, as soon as those tires started falling off, he was just passing everybody. And I think he was up to 6th place when he took the caution or went into the pits and then came out and lost his lug nut or whatever. So very unfortunate. I was hoping we'd see Brad back in the mix. Phil, let's stick with you and head right into Spire here. I think Spire is one of the interesting teams. Front row and Spire, I never know who we're all going to pick each week. I'm kind of excited to hear what you guys talk about. So, Phil, lead us off with Spire here.
Well, I would be interested to hear if you guys have anybody other than who I'm taking this week, which is Michael McDowell.
Well, I take him every week, so I might as well just write him in next to
you.
Yeah,
now. Right. You go ahead.
I'll give you the reason why. At that point.
Throw him in. I'll talk
across the board.
I'll give us the stats for everyone out there. I mean, give him a look. This dude is almost as consistent as you can get here. He is one of 6 drivers who has finished top 15 in all 4 races. He's got a 6th place finish, so 1 top 10 in 2023, and then 3 other 11th place finishes. So right on the cusp of that top 10. Bet 365 has him at plus 450 for a top 10. I think that's worth a look. A more readily available sportsbook is Caesars had him at plus 375. I think that's still worth it, even if you don't have bet 365, because he's right there. That bet will put you right there. I think he beats the shit out of all of his teammates this weekend. I don't think it's going to be close. McDowell seems to like this track, specifically in the next gen car. So Gave me Michael McDowell.
Yeah, he's been very good here. It's like sneakily one of his best tracks.
It's weird.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Weird.
it is. It's so. I mean, I don't know how much of that was a Ford thing. He's got the same crew chief
Yeah.
now with Spire, so none of that changed. I think he'll be solid. I think you just want him to qualify mid pack and kind of just nibble away at some spots and work his way up as he can. And like that's what he's done in two of his 11th place finishes. He started 18th, so that's kind of exactly what you can expect. Like start mid pack and just climb up when you can. Tino, you got anything to add about McDowell? He's my
Not
pick
too
every week,
much,
by the way.
honestly. Yeah, yeah. I think Michael McDowell for me, just the way that Phil laid it out too. If you're looking for a guy to potentially get you a top 10, but definitely an 11th to 15th place finish at this track, it's him. And out of the other guys in his squad, and especially for the draft here, that's what I'm looking for out of a Spire driver. So I like him there. I also love what Phil said about the top 10. I'm definitely going to check that out. And Eric in the chat saying, "Hey Ryan, it's Noel." If you
Oh hell yeah,
want to say hey back,
yeah, that's my dude.
let's
I
go.
Yeah, that's awesome. So he is a big Dinger fan, big AJ guy, and AJ's been running real hot. So, he's another one too. I put him in the DFS article last week. Just, I think he can finish top 20 and maybe just keep climbing up some spots. And he was solid all race again. He's just having a great, great year. After this week, we head into Easter. So I'm going to do our season long standings. And I'm pumped that I have AJ. I know that's going to help me that down at those late rounds of our season long draft. So I'll post that for everybody to see. It'll be fun. So Tino, I want to kick something to you. Phil and I were talking before the show. Uh, Trackhouse, very interesting team here because we're saying like this team could almost be relegated to best of the rest status because we're really just picking one guy every time. And you tried something different a couple weeks ago and it burnt you, probably cost you the win. So,
Yeah.
what do you think, man? I'm going to let you lead off Trackhouse and any thoughts you have about that. But I think we're probably all going to be the same here again. And we were looking ahead at the schedule, and it's like, man, probably 7 of the 8 next week, or 7 of the next 8 weeks, we're going to be the same guy as well. So, what do you think about relegating Trackhouse to best of the rest, or should we keep it here?
Now I'm in favor of that 100%. I wish that it was different because I'm gonna big Ross Chastain here, and I'm assuming you guys are as well. I'm assuming we're all going to be until we get to Mexico or another road course race, and that's the
Yeah.
unfortunate part about it. I was really hoping, and I'll be objective for Daniel Suarez. I feel like he's been running pretty well for where we've seen him in the past, years and all that talk about him. I feel like he's been running stronger, but still the results just show Ross Chastain is clear and above the rest, the driver we're going to draft each and every week, especially when it comes to a track like Bristol as well. And SVG, that's the one that hurts the most. I had high hopes for him. He hasn't really delivered. 20th last week at Darlington, but it just kind of seems like it was a 20th because he didn't get in a wreck, and normally he's been wrecking out every week. So I'm honestly all in favor of putting them in the best of the rest category. I think they kind of deserve it at this point because of where we're seeing Ross Chastain be the pick every single week.
Yeah, and it's not just Rex too with SVG. It's like sometimes he'll go out there and like Greg will do his incident adjusted speed and he's running the same speed as like Cody Ware. So it's just not what we were all hoping for this Trackhouse team. We were just hoping for more. And Suarez too started out the year, he's looking pretty good. And then I don't know, it's kind of fizzled, I guess. Maybe we just haven't gone places that are great for him. But unfortunately, isn't that most places? That's part of the problem. So I don't know, man. Give me Ross Chastain here. I don't really have much else to add here. I've already said I'm like against him in 2 different matchups, and it's not because I hate him here. It's just that do I think he can finish top 10? Yeah, maybe, but I think he's probably more like the McDowell range we're talking about, with maybe more upside than McDowell. So I don't know. For my head-to-heads, I feel confident. For this, you have to take Chastain. Phil, you're riding, right?
I'm riding. Yeah, I mean, this team is kind of the JV version of what we talked about with Penske, where it's like it's just there's 2 guys that just stink, and then you're taking the other guy that's left over. Because I mean, with Penske, I took Blaney. I'm betting against him in a head-to-head, but it's like he's the only obvious pick. So, yeah, nothing more on Ross.
We'll
One thing
talk
I did
about it
want to
over
throw
the.
out there real quick was Kyle mentioned make the Trackhouse spot an elite team spot, JGR, Penske, or Hendrick. So I want to throw that out there to you guys, but also everyone in the chat. Should we take Trackhouse out completely? Should we and put them into the best of the rest spot and then keep it like that? Should we put Trackhouses where they're in right now in their
Here's the
bar?
twist, though. Here's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
twist, though. In best of the rest, are we just always going to pick Chastain then?
I
No,
don't
because
think so.
Kyle's in there, you know,
Barry.
you got Barry there. I mean, and we
All
get to
right.
like road courses and stuff. Like there's road courses. It's wide open.
Mhm.
All right, that's a good idea by Kyle.
Yeah, so we can think about that. We can take them out completely. If you guys have any other suggestions in the chat, write them in now because we got a good Easter break to think about it and get together in the lab, and maybe we'll produce something cool for you guys. So let us know what you're thinking.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Elite teams, that'd be easy to just write right in there. Be awesome to end it like that. Elite teams, best of the rest, and wild card. Nice. I'm down.
I will say
So
wild card already kind of is elite teams if you're picking them right, but yeah, it's good to think about. It's good to think about.
that could be though, like road courses too, or
Mhm.
super speedways, because you're gonna want to might get a little funky at these super speedways here. If you're trying to gain some ground in this win column. So, all right, Phil, let's just head right into best of the rest. Phil, I'm gonna let you lead
I'm
it off.
first.
Do you want it? Do you want to go first? I don't
No.
care who goes first here. You want me
I-
to? I'll go first.
I
Yeah,
have
I'll do it.
5 names written down, dude, and like I could make a case for any of them.
So let's do that then. I only wrote down one.
All
So
right.
I have one
I wrote
name,
2.
and you. So Tino, you're a little different than us here in Hendrick and RFK, where Phil and I are only different on one driver.
One
So I'm
spot,
gonna
yeah.
go. I'll go first with my guy here, and then Phil, you can pick one of the other 4. So I think
I
my
guess
guy
I'll
might be
promise.
someone.
I'll promise I won't take them. I guess is my point.
Yeah, there we go. You could probably be doing yourself a favor, honestly, because
Okay, let's see who you got.
my pick is Cole Custer.
No, that's who I have. Dude,
no,
I have him written first.
Oh my god,
That's
Well-
fucking crazy. Okay.
Well, here's the thing: it never works out. It never works out. So don't really worry about it.
That was
Wow.
an insane
I will-
moment.
I'll at least tell everyone why I was on Cole Custer, and probably the same reasons why you're on Cole Custer as well. And the first thing I wrote here: I've tried this before, and it never ends well. That's how I started my own analysis here. But Haas has hooked up some fast cars here in Bristol recently. In the fall, he talked about Priest, top 10, Briscoe, top 10, Gragson finished 12th, Barry, total ass. Largely why I'm avoiding Barry here and picking Custer. Barry, we've been talking about it for 4 weeks now, 5 weeks even, I think. I don't know. Don't want to do the math. But he's good where he's been good in Xfinity. He's not been good where he's not been good in Xfinity. And so here we go to a place where he's really struggled to get around Bristol in the Xfinity series. And so, although my ranks, just because it takes a lot of things into consideration, have Barry slightly above Custer, I'm picking Custer here. Custer's last run in the Cup Series was in the Gen 7 era, where he did finish top 10. And we all know he's been very, very good here in the Xfinity series. So give me Custer. I like how Haas has these cars set up to come to this track. And I like that it's happened in the Gen 7 era. And I like that it's happened in the most recent race, where we have 2 top 10s and another one finishing 12th. So yeah, give me Custer here. Phil, sorry about that. Who do you
Hey.
got?
No, I defaulted to you to try to be different, and I thought Cole Custer was going to be like completely off the wall. So, props to you. I have 4 other names I could go with here.
Do you want Tino? Tino, do you have one name down?
I had 2. And now I'm kind of torn between them, and honestly, it was because I did not expect the Cole Custer at all. That kind of threw me for a loop here. So should I give out my pick here?
Oh, can we?
You want an RPS? Do you want an RPS?
Yeah, let's do it.
One and done.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
What's he holding
Okay.
up? I can't see.
I got rock.
You got rock. I had
All
scissors.
right.
He won.
I just
He won.
didn't do anything. All right. So okay. My pick here is going to be Kyle Busch. and I feel confident saying that. It was between him and full transparency. I only wrote down 2 guys, and honestly, it's been my only 2. If I wrote down Cole Custer, I would not have as big of nuts as Ryan did there. So respect to you once again, because I hope it plays out. I was interested in that pick, but it was between Josh Berry and Kyle Busch for me. And I didn't really, with Josh Berry starting well in this race last year, I really had high hopes for him. He was another one I written down for a potential outright winner, high long shot play. I could see a top 10, but he just hasn't really been as good as he should be here in results wise. Like the last few races that he has run here, he's finished 12th and 29th. So to me, especially when we're looking at this race being more similar to that fall race that he finished 29th in, that's where I'm going to go into the Kyle Busch direction, because hey, Kyle Busch ran pretty okay at Darlington. Where this is the best of the rest, and I'm looking for the best driver to get me the best position. And if that's a top 10 out of Kyle Busch at Bristol, one of his best tracks of his career, I'll take that. I don't really care if the speed of him as a driver or them as a team is up to par with everyone else. I'm just looking to beat Cole Custer in this sense, and then whoever Phil's got. So give me Kyle Busch here.
All right, nice. Yeah, I looked at him. I mean, I don't know if I was swayed away only because I had those matchups against him already or what. I mean, they've shown up pretty rough here, but that was he did have legit speed at Darlington last week. That was a legit finish for him. So he
Yeah.
ran a nice race. Phil, now was that another one of your guys?
Yep.
Nice.
But I had, not really planned to take him because it's just the name. He's got the brand name, which is hard to pass up and take someone like a Cole Custer, because it's Kyle Busch, and he swept Bristol one weekend years ago. Like, he's that guy. The guys I had written down were Cole Custer, Josh Berry, who I'm going to pass on, because Berry, I feel like he dazzled us for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. And since then he's not really materialized on race day. Kyle Busch, I actually had John Hunter Nemechek written down as I dug into him slightly.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a name that was mentioned. Someone who is 11 spots better than Kyle Busch in average finish. And it's AJ Allmendinger.
Wow.
Oh, let's go. Knowles, I hope you're still there, brother.
I'll pull him back.
AJ Allmendinger is my best of the rest pick. I mean, there's really no best of the rest is kind of the point. Like, those are the 5 guys that I wrote down as grasping at straws. Here's the play for AJ. I think he's going to finish somewhere between 19th and 24th. And I think that gets me a victory here between these 3 guys. I understand. I was on the Cole Custer train, but we're making a big leap of faith with Cole Custer. It's been a few years. With AJ, we've seen him in the next gen car. He has the 7th place finish. That finish that Cole Custer had, where he was 8th, AJ was 7th, so he beat him there. 23rd both times last year in 2024. But you dig down a little bit deeper. His Xfinity stats are very good here. 4 starts in Xfinity, nothing worse than 10th. 4 for 4 hit rate, finishing top 10. He's finished first in 2021. So, yeah, I mean, he is someone that has had speed. Like, he's been decent. And so I'm fine taking him just, as a best of the rest guy. I really, it was a toss-up. Any of those 5 guys I would have been happy with. So we'll see. It's really going to be a shootout between those 3 back markers.
Yeah, AJ's having a nice season, man. I like to see it. So great pick there. Wild card. I don't know if we're going to get. I think we might get back into some chalky territory here. I'll lead it off. I'm going with Christopher Bell. He was kind of the. I know this is a layup, so it might be boring for some people to hear, but there's kind of like the 1A, and the 1A was Hamlin and Larson, that tier, and Bell was just behind it, like the 1B tier. So, yeah, there's not much to say here. I mean, without what I will say is this though, without track position last week, he did struggle. He was probably going to go a lap down, so there's a little bit of worry there, but they do go off wicked late. Qualifying is like one of the last 3 guys to go out on the track. He's qualified well here all the time. So I do kind of expect him to qualify well and just be running up front with that track position and elite pit crew all day. His 4-tire stops are amazing. Top 5 in our 4-tire pit stop ranks on Win the Race. And he's got the 3 top 5 finishes here in the 4 Gen 7 races. His only one, he didn't finish top 5, he finished 10th. So there we go. I mean, great track position, probably incoming here for Bell. Great at this track. Great pit stops. Let's go. What does Eric say here? I was favored to win the championship. Yeah, see, there you go. Told you.
He's an AJ Allmendinger guy. That was an awesome to have that come back full circle in the show. There was awesome. Shout out to you, Eric. That was cool.
Yeah, Phil, you done well picking that, dude. Good job. All right, Tino, let's go to you. Give us your wild card pick, and then we'll let Phil close it out with his wild card pick.
So my wild card isn't wild at all. It's going to be Kyle Larson. And I did this for a multitude of reasons. One, I'm honestly kind of glad I saved him to the end because now I've written down our matchups that we are now, because a lot of our picks are the same and rightfully so. We're smart guys. We're all, picking the best drivers who are going to finish the highest for all those teams. Well, since I just picked Kyle Larson, that cancels out your guys having Kyle Larson and me not, right? So right now I'm seeing Chris Buescher versus Ryan Preece between us three, the best of the rest drivers, and right now Chase Elliott versus Christopher Bell would be our 3 matchups that determine who wins this weekend's race in the draft. So I'm excited for that because I had to pick Kyle Larson to sort of close out that gap that you guys presented. I think Chase Elliott has a shot over Bell. It's going to be tough to see between those 2 drivers, but I like where I'm at right now.
That was my backup. So it had the show gone where we were all chalk and someone took Bell for wild card. Elliott was my backup there. So yeah, great pick for your HMS pick. Phil, who do you have here to close out the show?
Yeah, it's funny. It's between those 2. But I'm going to go with Christopher Bell as well. So for all the reasons you said, Ryan, but similar to Elliott as far as like average finish, but Bell is number 1 in driver rating, number 1 in speed rating. Like I think he's, we said 1A, he's 1B. I think he is separating himself, especially with the year that he's having. Like Elliott, I called out. I'm a fan of him this week, but I called out kind of like how his year has been going, and that's what we see a lot from his performance at Bristol in the next gen era. I'd rather go with kind of the white hot, 3-win driver, just consistently fast every week, going to a track where he's consistently fast. So I'm not fun here taking Bell. Ryan and I are definitely more similar than you, Tino. I give you credit for being a little bit different, but needed to go with Bell.
Yeah, it looks like, so you and I, Phil, are Cole Custer and Zane Smith versus Noah Gragson and AJ Allmendinger.
I mean, that's
wow,
dude. I love the back marker, so this is like right up my alley.
That's your WrestleMania tag team championship.
Oh yeah.
That's
awesome. Yeah, and Tino, you were different with the Elliott pick there. Preece is different than all of us. So and Kyle Busch, obviously. So yeah, this will be a fun week. I thank everybody for listening as usual. Again, anytime we see triple digits in the comment section, that's exactly what we're looking for. So thank you guys for making it a lot of fun every week. Don't ever be afraid to bring a bet in here to talk about, a driver in here to talk about, anything. Just mention it. Tino will pull it up. We'll all just shoot the shit, talk about it. This was great. I one thing that I keep hearing, and I heard it again this week, is like the comment of, man, I listen to this show every week and it really helps me with my process. I was like, cool. That's why we started. That's not necessarily why we started the show, but we wanted a show that was going to talk about a good amount of drivers and just hit some data points and bets and things like that. So I'm glad it's helping people. Thank you all for tuning in. Tino, I'm going to kick it to you real quick. Just let everyone know where they can find you.
Yes, sir. You can find me at Tino, PATTIGNO, all across social media. I got to post some stuff there across, all my platforms this week. Got some good content coming out. You can also hear me on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90. So tune in there. Got my best bet segment. Sometimes I go live with Pete Stone and the crew. So yeah, I'm super excited for Bristol. Shout out to everyone in the chat. I'll read them off real quick here. Brian, Big Ross, Hot Pass, Miami Mike, Eric, the AJ Allmendinger super fan there. We got also Robert. I saw Kyle in the chat. Wyatt. Appreciate everyone. It's been great to sort of racing wrestling fan 36. It was great to see him in the chat this weekend. It's great to have you guys talk to us and with us. Like I feel so interactive pulling up the comments each and every week. So thanks for tuning in, and be sure to follow me there as well, and stay tuned for more coverage throughout this race weekend.
Thanks, dude. Phil, where can they get you?
Yeah, at Full Tank Phil on Instagram and X, and give my podcast a listen to Full Tank with Phil pod each week for the Cup Series, and then I guess I'll be working now to put together some best bets for the Truck Series on the Full Tank with Phil YouTube account. So, but want to echo everything they're saying. We appreciate it. This is so much fun every week, just talking shop with everybody. And yeah, good luck and have a good Easter break.
Awesome.
Yeah, that too.
Oh, I do have a question. Is there any
ahead.
book? I'm not an Xfinity bettor. Is there a bet or a book out there that allows you to bet top tens in Xfinity? Because
ESPN.
Rockingham, Casey Kane, top 10. I'm looking forward to betting that the most.
ESPN does. I know.
But my guy is back, and I'll be throwing a teacher salary on that.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, cool. Well, you can find all of my stuff and Greg Mathern stuff at Win the Race. We'll simulate every race 20,000 times for all three series, give you the fair market value odds for almost every bet that's imaginable that, Caesars and every book drops. So you can ask these guys. It's been working personally on a 6-week win streak. Nothing crazy, like no big wins, but I'm not like a 5-unit max better or 4-unit max better. I'm just like chipping away, having fun as a 40-year-old dude. But 6 straight winning weeks, it has been working. All my bets are put into Discord immediately so people can tell them if you want. Wintherace.info. Check it out. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Good luck this weekend at Bristol. Have a good one.